Dear students, so today we are going to look into the third normal form. So first normal form and second normal form already we have covered. If you haven't watched those videos, you can watch it on our YouTube channel. So when it comes to third normal form, you need to the third normal form need to satisfy some conditions, right? If a table needs to be in third normal form, that table needs to satisfy some conditions. So first of all, it must be in 2n. It must be in 2NF, right? So what is this 2NF? That story we have already covered in our previous video. And second option, there should be no transitive functional dependency. Okay. Now what is this no transitive functional dependency means? That means, dear students, if one non-key attribute is dependent on another non-key attribute, that is transitive functional dependency. If that dependency is there, then that particular table is not in third normal form. So let us look into the logic. If you consider this book table, book ID is the primary key. Book ID is the primary key because the book ID is not getting repeated. See, it's not getting repeated. Book ID is the primary key, right? So if you take the cat ID, if I say 100, what is your cat ID? Then I will get as 1. So cat ID is dependent on book ID, right? How do you say that? Cat ID is dependent on book ID. Cat ID is dependent on book ID. This is the way you need to draw. And if you take cat type, this is one non-key attribute. That means all the other keys except the book ID, which is the primary key, are called as non-key attribute. Now if you take this cat type, this is dependent on cat type. This is called as transitive functional dependency. That means I can uniquely identify the category type using the cat type. Imagine there are some subjects, I am saying 1. Then I can uniquely identify the category type as science. See, he also science, he also science. 2, max, he also max. Then there is transitive functional dependency. Therefore, this table is not in 3NF. So let us go further. We can say category type, cat type is dependent on what? Cat ID. Then if you take the category type, cat type is dependent on book ID via what? Via category ID. That's the logic. So here I can say cat type is dependent on book ID via what? Cat ID. Cat type. So this is the real definition of transitive functional dependency, but for the examination purpose you can remember in a shortcut way. If one non-key attribute is dependent on another non-key attribute, that is called as transitive functional dependency. If that is there, that table is not in third normal form. Now look here, right? This is dependent on category ID. So if I say 1, I can identify the category type as science. If I say 2, I can identify it as maths. So this cat type is dependent on cat ID. So if one non-key attribute is dependent on another non-key attribute, that is called as transitive functional dependency. So that is there in this table. So this table is not in third normal form. So here see, cat ID is dependent on book ID because book ID is the primary key. Cat type is dependent on cat ID. Cat type is dependent on book ID via cat ID. So as because the cat type is dependent on cat ID, one non-key attribute is dependent on another non-key attribute, there is transitive functional dependency. So this table is not in third normal form. So now let us convert it into third normal form. So what is the reason for this table not to be in third normal form? Cat type is dependent on cat ID. So let us take them, both of them, to a separate table. So let us name that particular table as category table. So here I am going to have category table, and here we are going to have, dear students, the cat ID and cat type, because those are the reason the reason for this table not to be in 3NF. This table not to be in 3NF, what is the reason? Cat type is dependent on cat ID, so take those two attributes to a separate table. Then we can draw the table. So here the cat ID is going to be the primary key in this table. So we can say 1, 2, 3. So 1 means science, 2 means max, here 2 means max, then 3 means physics, 3 means physics. Then you can complete this table, right? So the primary key is the cat ID, and in another table we need to have the book ID and price, but also we need to establish the foreign key as well, right? We need to establish the foreign key as well. So other table is going to be the category table. If you look into the category table, we are going to have the other table is going to be the book table, because we have the category table already at the above, so it is going to be the book table. So here let me say book table, and here we are going to have the book ID and price, book ID, then price. Then we can bring this primary key as the foreign key to this book table to establish the relationship, right? So here it's going to be cat ID. So what is the primary key? Book ID. So you can fill the table. So 1000, the price is 500. What is the category ID? 1. Next one 1001, price is 300, category ID is 2. Next one 1002, what's the price? Price is 400, category ID is 1. What about the next one? 1003, the category ID is 3, price is 700. And when it comes to the last one, it is 1010, 400, price, and category ID is 2. So this is the book table. So now you need to check whether these two tables are in 3NF. So how to check? You need to check whether this table is in 2NF. So first check whether this table is in 2NF. Yes, this table is in 2NF. Why? There is no partial dependency, because there is only primary key. So partial dependency will come only when there is composite key. So in this case, definitely it is in there is no partial dependency, and also if this table is in 2NF, therefore this table is in 2NF, that means there is no partial dependency, and this table is in 1NF, therefore this table is in 2NF. At the same time, there is no transitive functional dependency. Why? There is only one non-key attribute. So can you check whether another non-key attribute is dependent on this? You can't check. So definitely, if there is one non-key attribute, definitely there is no transitive functional dependency, and this table is also in 2NF. So definitely this table is in 3NF. What about this? You need to check this as well. So after converting, you need to check it from beginning, whether it is in 1NF, whether it is in 2NF, and whether it is in 3NF. So in this table, book ID is the primary key. This table is in 1NF, and as because there is only primary key and there is no partial dependency, definitely this table is in 2NF. And if you look into the transitive functional dependency, can you determine the category ID using the price? If I say 400, I will get 1 also, I will get 2 also. Can you determine? No. If I say 1 category ID, I will get 400 also, 500 also. That means price is not dependent on category ID. At the same time, category ID is also not dependent on price. So one non-key attribute is not dependent on another non-key attribute. So there is no transitive functional dependency. And as the table is also in 2NF, definitely this table is in 3NF. So I hope the idea is clear. That's it.